As a nation, we have never experienced a housing market like what we're seeing right now. These are truly unprecedented times. It's confusing and it has a lot of people wondering if we're in a housing bubble or if the housing market's going to crash. Well, in today's video, using facts and statistics, I'm going to give you the reasons why we are not in a housing bubble. Hi, I'm Ty the Real Estate Guy, and if you'd like to stay up to date on the latest real estate tips and trends, subscribe to my channel below and ring that little bell. If you have questions or comments at any time during this video, please leave a message below. I'll do my best to respond to each one of you. If you're looking to buy, sell, or build a home in Utah, I would love to talk with you. Please feel free to call or text. Okay, so first let's put an end to any comparison to what happened in 2007 and 2008 when the market crashed and home values dropped by 33%. I keep hearing things like, this is exactly what happened when the housing market crashed in 2008. A lot of people are refusing to buy a home right now because they know the housing bubble is going to pop. And in one of my recent videos, one viewer said, no one knows what's going to happen. That statement has some truth to it. I mean, the world could end tomorrow, but as long as that doesn't happen, there's a very good chance, or maybe I should say, it's highly likely that the housing bubble is not going to pop. Instead, it's highly likely that the housing market is going to continue to roar, and here are the facts to explain why. Number one, nationwide, we are in a severe housing shortage because home builders, land developers, and most of the companies that supply the needed materials to the builders and the land developers have been producing at conservative post-recession levels as a way to protect themselves from another market correction where a lot of these types of companies went out of business. As fate would have it, we are getting the opposite and the market has taken off at a blistering pace. We don't have the equipment, the manpower, or the supplies needed to build homes any faster. Lawrence Yun, the chief economist of the National Association of Realtors, said, we need to build more homes. Since the housing crisis more than a decade ago, home builders have been building too few homes. Freddie Mac's chief economist, Sam Cater, said, this is what you get when you underbuild for 10 years. We should have almost 4 million more housing units. According to Robert Dietz, the chief economist at the National Association of Home Builders, aka the NAB, home builders need to construct between 1.1 and 1.2 million single-family homes a year to meet long-term demand. But that rate would need to be even higher to remove the void that currently exists. The lack of supply has driven up the median price of existing homes to $313,000 as of February. According to the National Association of Realtors, that's an increase of 15.8% compared to a year earlier. In hot markets like Utah, the numbers are going to be a lot bigger than this. Number two, people aren't listing their homes for sale. Why? Well, they're afraid that they won't be able to find a new home if they sell the one that they are in. I don't blame them. Who wants to be homeless? Currently, homeowners are intimidated by the buying frenzy that is going on. Who knows how many offers they'll need to make before finally getting a home that they like. I should point out that this really is a good time to sell and buy a new home, especially if you're looking to downsize or move to a less expensive area. Number three, there are significantly less foreclosures because since the recession, lenders and those looking to buy a home have been held to a much higher standard. That means home buyers need better credit scores and they've also put down larger deposits. The tighter regulations have prevented a lot of underqualified people from buying homes. Even when you consider mortgage forbearance, many of these homeowners have been able to recover, paying all the late fees back to the bank and making up for the missed payments. Fortunately, a large portion of those who may have otherwise lost their homes will now be able to keep them. I should also point out that this will keep history from repeating itself. In 2008, people with poor credit and small down payments took on too much debt. When the market crashed, a lot of people couldn't make their house payments. That will not happen this time. Okay, so there's three things that are responsible for the housing shortage. but several other factors have led to millions of potential home buyers suddenly and unexpectedly flooding the housing market. Let's continue. Number 4, COVID-19. The coronavirus has convinced a lot of Americans to buy a house or to upgrade to a bigger one. The home is increasingly becoming a place where we're spending more time. Nationwide, a lot of people will be working from home on a permanent basis, so a home office is a must. Many will continue to do school from home, and a lot of us now have home gyms. We're also watching movies and sporting events more often from our house. People are also wanting their own private yard where they can play and have a garden. Thanks to COVID-19, people are moving from high-density housing like apartments, condos, and etc. And people are migrating from large crowded cities to more rural locations. Data from Zillow showed that housing inventory climbed the highest in Los Angeles, Chicago, San Francisco, and New York. These locations will likely be the first to see the housing market slow. Number 5, the stimulus money is helping a lot of people with a down payment for a home or to buy stock in GameStop. For those who've been saving to buy a home, this extra cash was just what they needed for their down payment. I'm happy for those who are now able to purchase a home, but it only perpetuated the problem. For many others who are mortgage forbearance, the stimulus money has allowed them to catch up on their late mortgage payments. Without a doubt, this will reduce the number of homes coming back onto the market. Number 6, the millennials have grown into their prime home buying years. According to the National Association of Realtors, millennials make up about 38% of the home buyers entering the market, and most of them are first-time home buyers. But they're not just buying traditional starter homes, they're buying newer, more expensive homes. This sudden influx of millennials hitting the market is causing a huge surge of new buyers, ensuring a super competitive housing market through 2021 and most likely into 2022. Number 7, low mortgage interest rates. These ridiculously low rates have allowed millions to purchase a home for the first time and encouraged countless others to buy a second home or investment properties. It's an incredible time to borrow money. Many believe that mortgage rates are the number one reason the housing market is screaming right now. And yes, mortgage rates have come up, but they are still insanely low. To get a 30-year fixed rate in the low 3s is a huge blessing. Obviously, as rates tick up, housing becomes less affordable, taking some people out of the market. But the upticking rates also create urgency as buyers panic to purchase a home before the rates increase again. Now, I'm gonna pause for just a moment because I would love to hear your thoughts. Sincerely. Just don't call me a greedy, creepy real estate agent like someone did in my last video. I love hearing from you and what you think is gonna happen. Please share your opinion, but do it with respect. Name calling says a lot about your character, and I don't want you embarrassing yourself on social media. So, what do you think is gonna happen over the next year or so in the housing market, and why do you see it happening? Please take a moment and comment below. Also, will you please give this video a thumbs up to support my channel? I would appreciate it more than you know, and a thumbs up will help others see that this video is helpful. Thanks. Okay, so for those of you who still aren't convinced and you think there's still going to be a market crash, let me explain a little further. A market crash happens when millions of people can no longer afford to make their mortgage payment, in turn losing their homes to foreclosure. There are a few major differences between today and 2008, when millions of people lost their homes, crashing the market and sending home values plummeting by 33%. Number 1, because mortgage rates are so low, monthly house payments are much lower compared to how much money people are earning these days. I keep hearing the argument that with home prices increasing so much, even with a lower rate, house payments are still super high. That's absolutely true, but only for people who have bought a home in the last few months. House prices have only really started to jump over the last 4 to 6 months. All those others, millions upon millions of people, purchased a home well within their budget and got a freaking ridiculously super insanely low mortgage rate. And just to solidify our market even further, gazillions of others who have owned their homes for years have recently refinanced, dropping their house payments by hundreds of dollars per month. Investors have refinanced their rental properties as well, not only decreasing their monthly mortgage payment, but also increasing their profitability. And because rent is going up, investors are charging a higher rate, once again solidifying our housing market. Number two, people have a lot more equity in their homes. Generally, people lose their homes when the value of their property drops below what they owe. That is far less likely to happen as millions of people have tens, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars in equity in their homes. Even for those with a ton of equity who fall upon bad times are more likely to fight tooth and nail to keep their home. At the end of the day, if they still can't afford to keep their home, they can just sell it and walk away with all that equity. Number three, like I said earlier, home buyers are a lot more solid than in the past. Loans today are given to people with higher credit scores. Statistically speaking, people with higher credit scores are far less likely to default on their loans. And because of what happened during the recession, lenders and those applying for loans to buy a house are held to a much higher standard. Stricter policies make it much harder for underqualified people to buy a home these days. Now, I know that some of you are worried about mortgage forbearance. It's understandable to think that forbearance could crash the market, but it's just not going to happen, and here's why. To help even more people recover from the shutdown caused by COVID-19, the Biden administration has extended forbearance to June 30th. Yes, approximately 10 million people are still in forbearance, and yes, the deadline is fast approaching, but measures have been put into place that allow homeowners to extend forbearance for up to 12 months, pushing the real end date well into 2022. This will allow millions of Americans to catch up on their mortgage or continue to build equity in their homes and then sell if they're unable to recover. In turn, many of these people who lost their homes will walk away with a lot of cash. In the strong housing markets around the country, forbearance will have little to no impact. But it's not going to be sunshine and roses for all markets. Some locations around the country will feel the impact of forbearance. But overall, as a nation, forbearance will have little to no effect. Simply put, the housing bubble is not going to pop because we are not in a housing bubble. Just because home prices have come up, that doesn't mean they're going to come crashing back down. Several locations around the world have seen a much higher increase in home values than what we have here in the US. Places like Canada and Great Britain. If you're waiting for the bubble to pop, you're going to be disappointed. I'm not saying this to trick you or to convince you to buy a home. I'm simply stating the facts and passing on the information that I have learned by reading the most recent articles from the top housing and economic professionals. If you don't believe me, that's fine. We're all allowed to have our own opinions. But I'm telling you, it's highly likely that the housing market will continue to run through 2021 and most likely into 2022. In certain markets with strong economies and job growth like Utah, the market could go a lot longer than that. When it comes to buying a home, the most important factor is you. What's your financial situation? Do you have a stable job? Do you have plenty in savings? Will buying a house decrease what you're paying where you currently live? You shouldn't buy a house if you're not ready. It could end up being a huge mistake to buy because rates are low or because home prices are increasing or whatever. But if you want to buy a home and you're financially and mentally ready, you should do it. And the sooner the better. If you're not convinced that buying a home is a good thing, I would highly recommend watching my video, Why You Need to Buy a House, right now. I'll put a link to this video below. For those of you who are looking to buy a home, here's a few videos that should help. How to buy your first home. Build or buy an existing home. How to buy a house from a home builder. If you're planning to move to Utah or you already live here and you're looking to buy, sell, or build a home, I would love to talk with you. Please feel free to contact me directly. If there's something that stood out to you as being helpful or if you have questions, please comment below. Sincerely, I want to hear from you. If you know someone who's thinking about buying a home or moving to Utah, please share this video with them. And please don't forget to hit the subscribe button below and ring the bell to be notified each time I post new videos. Also, you can find me on Instagram at Ty the Real Estate Guy. If you found this information helpful, please give me a thumbs up. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to ring that little bell below. It'll make you feel good.